Let me introduce myself. My exact name is Columbia Radio-gramophones. I would like to tell you something.
Pardon me, but may I?
Forgive me, but you shall have your turn in a moment. Now to explain. Until a year or two ago, two separate instruments were used to provide radio and gramophone entertainment. The idea of combining the two in one was conceived. I am the result. It was a clever idea because the radio and the electric gramophone each have many parts in common. We are both housed in the same cabinet, we receive our power from the same source, and we both make ourselves heard through the same speaker.
May I mention?
Just a moment more, madam. Let me add that there are also many other parts which we share, so that when my gramophone half and I were happily married, we found our life together actually more economical than when we lived separately. Unlike many married couples, we never conflict with one another. Each of us plays an individual part in our united life. Which reminds me that I should now give a chance to my gramophone half, and not my better half, mark you, my charming gramophone half.
Thank you, Mr. Radio. I was wondering when my turn was coming. Perhaps I should have spoken first. Remember, it was I who provided that music before you spoke. Yet you are right. We never quarrel, because even though our methods are different, we work for one aim, to entertain. You, Mr. Radio, enjoy long hours with your splendid entertainment. But there are times when you are silent. You may not always have subjects that interest your listeners. Your stations are not always broadcasting. Then I get my opportunities. I am much more obliging than you. I can give my audience whatever they want to hear at any time they please, often repeating for their delight something you yourself have given them.
Excellent, Mrs. Gramophone. And of course, you can give encores. But there are not many hours when I cannot tune into some program. If our English stations are not transmitting, I have a very wide selection of foreign stations to choose from, so that the many alternative programs at my disposal make it possible for me to tune in to suit almost any taste.
Ah, you must agree, though, that while you are very versatile and can often offer orchestras, dance bands, vaudeville, plays, talks, news, sports commentaries, and so forth, and have so many countries to choose from, you cannot always provide just that favorite tune to suit the mood of your listener, as I can.
Quite true. It is just that vital characteristic, taken in combination with my own effortless programs, that make us together the ideal in home entertainment. A touch of a switch will set either of us in action. Isn't it wonderful what progress we have made in the last few years?
Wonderful.
Do you remember when, before you joined company with me, you had to be wound up by a handle before you would perform? Now you start up as soon as switched on.
Yes, and I also switch off automatically as soon as I have finished playing a record. Do you remember how you had to be fed with batteries and accumulators and had to receive your signals from a long outside aerial? But now you only need a few yards of wire round the picture rail. Your voice, like mine, has also greatly improved. I can recall the time when your tones were very thin and unnatural, and your speaker was always in a separate cabinet.
Ah, I can still work through a separate speaker if I wish, and so can you. And this is a great advantage, because we can then be heard in any room in the house. I can even work without my aerial, as I have a little device fitted which can be used to employ the mains as an aerial. I am glad I do not now require batteries and accumulators, as I am far less trouble and much cheaper to run. My consumption is very small, and electricity is very cheap. If our listening friends would like to know how many hours service we give for the cost of 1 unit of electricity, our salesman will gladly tell them. He will also give details of our circuit and explain the easy terms upon which we may be purchased by extended payment. Then, whenever it is convenient to tune me into a few stations, I will show what I can do. Meantime, my Columbia gramophone half will give a few items from her repertoire.
As the gramophone half of the Columbia Radio-gramophones, I would like to give a few examples of my side of entertainment. Among them, some that normally are most difficult to reproduce faithfully. First, let me take the pianoforte. This actually covers a wider range of frequencies than any other single instrument, and if played on an inefficient gramophone, is liable to sound cracked, tinny and unnatural, and to set up a rattle. Could you wish for anything better than that? It was Friedman, playing the Liszt Hungarian Rhapsody No. 2. Now let us try a violin solo, played by that very popular artist, Albert Sandler. No difficulty in distinguishing that as a violin. What purity and sweetness of tone, no scraping or harshness. Next I propose to give an extract from an orchestral selection. Note the faithful reproduction throughout the whole musical compass, faithful from the high notes of the piccolo to the deep bass of the drums. Lifelike, is it not? It was Mengelberg, conducting the overture to Tannhäuser. Now let us have a special test for my bass. What could be better than our old friend Jetsam, of Flotsam and Jetsam? He can reach the lowest depths, speaking musically, of course. I shall conclude this short recital with a few bars from that popular number, Love Everlasting, sung by the well-known soprano Ina Suez. Faithful reproduction of the soprano voice has always been difficult to obtain, but I shall prove that I at least am capable of so doing. I should like you to ask to have the opportunity of hearing me in your own home. That is where I am always at my best, and where my Columbia radio partner and I will happily entertain you with all the music of the world, always an asset to you and the envy and the admiration of your friends.